Hi, and welcome to another Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher, and today we're going to take a look at the tangle Orlique. Orlique is a really neat tangle that you can use as a fill-in to add texture. Just really, really fun. So I have my bijou tile here set up with a border already, and what we're going to do is find the widest space or the middle, and we're going to just draw a curvy line. And this tangle is just curvy lines and aura-ing. Or I should say, two curvy lines, and then the rest is aura-ing. And if you're new to Zentangle, to aura is essentially to draw an outline, and it looks like an aura. So here's my curvy line in the middle. Now, actually, I'm going to start from up here, because that way I can, number one, see where I'm going, because my aim is to have this aura be consistent. So I'm aura-ing this one side, and yeah, try to be consistent. Now, how far apart, how close together you have your auras is completely up to you. And always my aim is to have the lines be consistent, but as you can see, it doesn't always work out that way. Part of it for me is if this is a long distance for my pen to travel, and generally I like to just keep my hand here and move, and having these nice short things to draw. But this, I'm trying to have it travel along and not pick up my pen, because anytime you pick up your pen and then put it back down, you end up with a little, well, unless you're really good, like that one was really good where I just finished that little line, you end up with a little mark. Although in this tangle, it's not going to really matter. So you could feel free to pick up your pen and move it, put it down afterwards. Now, if you come to something like this, so I've come to this edge, I'm not going to continue because this is my border. What I'm going to do, this is kind of like hollabow, where I'm just picking up, I would have drawn here, but I'm just going to continue this curve as if, I had been, continuing to draw it along. And then as you run out of room, you just keep going to your border or to your pencil line and continuing to aura as you go. One challenge that I seem to have is, as you can see here, well, it kind of adds to the character of it. But as I'm going, and some of it is natural, you can't quite fit up and have the aura be exact as you're going up through, a tight space like this. So what I find is that then it starts to kind of level out. So I watch for those things and then try to maybe exaggerate this part, so that way, I'm maintaining some kind of curve, so I don't end up with just a straight line at the end. Next step is just flipping your paper or your tile, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now, the reason that we do this is, number one, we want to capture the width of whatever section you're working in. And so that's why we draw the line. And it doesn't have to be in the middle. I would find the widest point and draw your curvy line there. Because that way, well, you're not going to have the same effect if I started here. It's not going to work the other way. So then we're drawing. We're continuing to aura. This is a practice in aura-ing. Actually, it's not a bad idea if drawing an aura is something that is not comfortable. This is a great tangle to practice that. Like I said, so like here, see, some of these are getting kind of narrow, where these are wider. So on purpose, I'll try to scoop that down just a little bit. That was a bit drastic, but there's a slight, oh, look at that. There's some slight changes that you can make as you go along, but it's something that you'll find as you're practicing. And again, just continuing to aura until you have no more room, like that. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop for a minute and and this is something that you don't have to do. I just want to do it now because I wouldn't be able to do it afterwards. If you want to, for shading, because it's kind of neat. So I'm going to add some shading, where these curves are. And I'm just going to add just a little bit. Again, because once you see the next, and I think I'm just going to, well, maybe I'll do a little bit here. And again, don't have to. And I'm going to just smush it around with my tortillon to spread it out a little bit. And you'll see why as we do the next step. Okay, that's good. All right, next step is we're going to go, so we started this way, right? We're going to turn this 90 degrees and do the same thing over top of this one. This is one of those rare tangles where we are drawing over top of what we've already done. So I'm going to start here. Again, this is my widest place. And I'm going to draw another curve line. And same thing. I'm going to start from here. Now this is where it gets a smidge difficult because it gets a little difficult to see sometimes where your last aura was, because it can kind of get mixed up in what is behind it. And again, I'll tell you, I'm doing this one. This one, for whatever reason, my aura is a little bit wider than the first one. It's a little bit more consistent too. It's like I'm feeling like, wow, that looks really good. Why didn't I do that on the first try? Oh, see, then I'm talking about it and then it changes. So don't jinx yourself like that. All right. This is also, besides practicing aura-ing, it's also, I think that's why sometimes I have trouble, and why I hesitate as I'm trying to talk through this at the same time. This is a great one for focus, because you need to be able to, especially on this part, just really watch where your last line was, so that way you can continue aura-ing. So if you're looking for something that you could just kind of sink into, if you're looking for that meditative, mindful benefit, this is a good one to do, because you really have to focus on what you're doing and, slow down and just kind of stay in that moment. Okay, so then I finished the one side, and just like we did before, I'm turned the tile so that way I can finish going on the other side. So you can already see how neat this is. And then too, if as I mentioned, if the lines get a little bit, wonky, or, run into each other a little bit, as you can tell, it is not going to matter in the end. And almost done here. Now this one you can, so then what I'll do is see if I can see, and I where some of these new curves are, and I can add some graphite. But you can see just how neat that looks. So yeah, looking here is like, okay, do I have some other curves that I might want to accentuate? Like there's kind of one here, and that kind of curves up. Oh, like, did I do that one before? There's sort of one here. And again, you don't have to do this part. You don't have to add graphite inside unless you want to. You can also, but it does add to what's already there. You can also, which is what I highly recommend, is just going around that border. So too, you could always start with this, and then if you feel like you want to do the inside, you of course can. Ooh, I'm just seeing this. I'm like, oh, I feel like I want to put some graphite right there. All right, so then this, I have a toothpick in here. Oh, that's why it's sliding out, because with tortillons, if the tip ever gets mashed in, you can. This one I put a toothpick in, and I actually just left the toothpick in and nipped off the end. So that it gave it some structure, because it wasn't quite used enough that I felt like I wanted to toss it. just so that way you know if they ever get, because if you use them this way, then they roll up on themselves, and you can't use them that way. But, yeah, either a toothpick, or you can like unbend a paper clip and stick it in the end and pop that right out. So sometimes it's just nice to shade in the edges of whatever section that you have. It adds a nice little touch. But like I said, all of that, the shading and things are up to you. I'm seeing another place here. It's like, ooh, right here. You know, it's fun just to kind of take a look at, and if you see something that's like, well, that could use a little bit of shading. Oh, that could, you know, and just play with it and have fun. But as you can see, really, really neat tangle. If you were, you know, sometimes you look at things and you think, oh my gosh, that is so complicated. How on earth did you do that? And now that you know, it's so super easy. I know that you'll have some fun with it. So feel free to leave comments if you had some great success with it. If you like the Tangle, love to have leave a comment. If you like this series of Zentangle quickies, also would love to hear from you. In the description, I will have the step out, as well as ways to connect if you so choose with our my Zentangle Addicts community. And yeah, and so I hope you have fun with this. Happy tangling.